Hi, I'm here with Simon Glance, and one of my very good friends for a very long time. And he's a brilliant nutritionist, and he knows so much stuff. And we're going to pick his brain today, and we're going to be talking about gut health. So, hi, Simon, welcome.
Hi Sharon, thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. I know that you've got three areas that you really want to talk about when we're looking at gut health. We did a magazine on it recently because I think it's very, very important because a lot of people don't realize how important gut health is to all of us. And if you haven't got a healthy gut, how that affects your body in so many other ways. And I think so many people try to fix issues with their health where they're never actually going to really get to the core of the issue because it comes from the gut. So it's vitally, vitally important that we start learning about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Interestingly, traditional systems of medicine have been telling us this for a long time. They've always said focus on healing the gut first. But it's only recently that Western doctors have started to recognize the importance of gut health. But we are starting to realize that now, thankfully, and more people are learning as you say, the importance of having good gut health, first and foremost. So yeah, I myself have suffered from digestive health issues, and a few years ago, and it came with a plethora of really uncomfortable symptoms, and a lot of people who have any kind of chronic inflammatory condition. And chronic inflammatory conditions can range from skin problems to brain fog to anxiety, depression, even autism spectrum disorders, even diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis. All of these things have a connection with gut health. And one of the biggest issues with the gut is leaky gut. This is where we have a problem with the integrity of the gut lining. The mucosal membrane literally has openings in it, holes, if you like, and this allows proteins to pass through the barrier into the bloodstream directly, and then this sets the stage for immune reactions. The immune system is going to pick these up and attack them, and we're going to end up with systemic inflammation. And a lot of it is initially triggered by stress and poor diet and toxicity, and definitely exacerbated by stress. And it creates a kind of a vicious cycle, because then the more stressed we become, the harder it is for the body to repair itself, to repair the connective tissues like the gut lining. So it really becomes important to know which nutrients to put back into the body to heal the gut. And traditional foods had many more of these nutrients than a lot of modern foods. With processed food that's really devoid of these building blocks, it's no wonder people are having issues with gut integrity. For the omnivores out there, one of the best ways to get those building blocks to repair connective tissue is bone broth, good old-fashioned bone broth, rich in collagen, rich in all the right minerals. And this is something that, I remember my grandma making it. I'm sure a lot of people have grown up with this kind of food, but today it's much less common. So it's the collagen in that, which comes from the bones, the boiling of the bones. It's also possible to buy hydrolyzed gelatin or collagen from organic sources, grass-fed, hormone-free animals. But then for the vegetarians and vegans out there, you can also get a lot of those nutrients from things like lysine and proline. Those are two amino acids in combination with vitamin C. You may have heard of Linus Pauling. He did some great research on the benefits of taking lysine and vitamin C and proline as well. That combination is really good for boosting collagen production and helping heal connective tissues. Another fantastic nutrient is glutamine. It's naturally found in cruciferous vegetables, but you can also buy glutamine as a supplement quite cheaply. Most people will find it online or at a health food store. It comes as a powder. And you can add that to smoothies, or just mix it in with some water and juice. And that is, again, very, very good at sealing the gut. And I do recommend that people probably focus on that step first. And we're going to talk about some other things in a minute, which are also important. Another nutrient that's really, really important is zinc. So many people have a zinc deficiency, and zinc deficiency is connected to all sorts of symptoms and diseases, and especially leaky gut. Again, it's pretty much guaranteed that if you have a zinc deficiency, you're going to have some form of leaky gut, some degree of leaky gut. And unfortunately, those who are on a vegetarian and vegan diet are really, I would advise they look into supplementing with some extra zinc, because it is predominantly found in animal-based foods. So taking supplemental zinc is really, really helpful. So once we get those basic building blocks, those really important nutrients coming in, the body's going to start to be able to patch up these holes and start to develop a much healthier mucosal membrane throughout the intestinal tract. And that means that the body is now better able to choose intelligently which things get absorbed and which things just pass through. And that is, as you can imagine, absolutely essential to the well-being of the body. Having leaky gut is going to affect our neurotransmitter balance. It's going to affect our hormonal balance. It's going to affect our immune system. It's no wonder people are feeling rotten when we have issues with the gut lining. The second really, really important factor in gut health is the microbiome, the balance of bacteria, pathogenic versus friendly bacteria. We have something like 100 trillion microorganisms in the human intestinal tract. That is a ridiculously high number. I know it's roughly 10 times more than the number of cells that we have in our body. So you could say that we're more bacteria than we are cells. It's quite mind-boggling fact.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's amazing.
So as you can imagine, it's really important that we have the right kinds of bacteria in our digestive tract. These bacteria are a huge part of our immune system. You could say they're approximately 3/4 of our immune function. When you think about it, from our mouth to our anus, that is technically outside the body. And that's where we are the most vulnerable. That's where we are the most open to the outside world. So it's essential that we have our buddies, the good bacteria, lining that entire tract to protect us from all of the food that's breaking down and the waste products and the toxicity that's there. Otherwise we would die of toxic overload. But unfortunately today, many people do have dysbiosis, an imbalance in bacteria. And a lot of it is to do with the use of antibiotics. Most of us have had at least one, if not several courses of antibiotics. And experts now estimate that just one course of antibiotics is enough to quite severely compromise the balance of bacteria in our guts. And once that happens, it doesn't correct itself easily. We really need to take measures to re-establish the correct balance. There are also antibiotics in a lot of commercial food, especially meats. And then also things like chlorine in tap water, that can affect the balance of bacteria. Stress is another one. And then just the whole plethora of toxins that are in our environment. These are also going to negatively impact on the microbiome. So really it's an ongoing thing. I don't think it's a question of, okay, I'm going to get my bacteria balance sorted out and then I'm okay. It's something we have to do continuously because we are being compromised all the time. So I recommend that people start getting into fermented foods, sauerkraut, kefir is one of my favorites for those who are okay with taking dairy products. I use Tibetan kefir grains, and you can also use those same grains to make coconut kefir or banana kefir or even ferment coconut water. But for those who have dairy, fermenting a good organic milk, well-sourced, it's way better than taking some acidophilus from in capsules. A glass of kefir or a glass of any type of kefir, milk, coconut, it's probably like consuming the entire bottle of capsules of the powdered probiotics. But it's probably even better than that because you've got far more diverse strains in there. So yeah, fermented foods is the way to go. And then on top of consuming the fermented foods, we need to feed them too. And they live off prebiotics, which are certain types of fiber in some starches found in like sweet potatoes, yams, banana is another good example, and just fibrous foods in general. It's really important that we have plenty of fiber because it feeds these good bacteria and keeps the digestive tract in balance. So yeah, I would say that's the cornerstone of gut health, is getting the right building blocks going in, and then also making sure that we're continuously feeding our body things which are going to promote proper balance in terms of bacteria. And if we start doing that, then very quickly we're going to start to notice a difference in the way we feel. There's a reason why we talk about gut feelings. We actually have neural tissue, that's brain tissue in our digestive tract. That is a medical fact. Our digestive tract, our intestines produce neurotransmitters, just like the brain. So you could say that we are literally on a physiological level, we are conscious in our guts. And so when we start to heal our guts, we literally feel better. You know, it's a feeling that comes from our gut. It's connected to our brain, and everything just starts to balance. We start to get better hormone balance, better neurotransmitter balance, more energy. We're more resilient. We have less inflammation. Our brain is clearer, and all sorts of chronic conditions will very likely start to go away on their own as the body balances itself, heals itself, and all of the reparatory mechanisms. And it's also going to make us more resilient to stress. That's the other big thing that I wanted to talk about, is stress. It's a two-way thing. Stress is obviously going to contribute to leaky gut, to gut health issues, dysbiosis, etc. We've spoken about rebuilding the gut. And we've also spoken about sort of the microbiome, the right bacteria. And the third is reducing stress in our lives, because it's much harder for to heal itself, as we know. So I really encourage, as well as taking care of their gut and eating and putting into their body, to also really and slow down and to have space to breathe, center themselves. That is also essential to gut health in general.
Yeah, thank you. So it was cutting in a little bit there. What you're saying is, as well as looking at putting great things into your body and using the probiotics and using the fermented foods, to really look at the stress levels in your body, do meditation, do some really good breathing. I know from my point of view, I had leaky gut syndrome years ago, and it was coupled with my stage 3 adrenal exhaustion. And I know for many people they go hand in hand. So for me, it was the stress that brought it on. Well, but I assume it was the stress that brought it on, but maybe the gut had been very weak before that. So I suppose you never know, but they do go hand in hand. But I do know when I was really, really stressed, the gut, the symptoms was a lot worse. It did take me a while to get back on track again. But I do my own kombucha these days, and I'm actually going to start doing kefir as well. And it's just so easy to do. I'm not a cook, I'm not great in the kitchen, but I know how easy it is to do, and it's so good for me. And you know, sometimes, you know, I've been in the UK, and it was brewing while I was away. Now it's very, very strong, but I just use it on top of salad dressing. So, you know, even if you don't like the taste of it, there's things that you can do to get that goodness in your body still.
Yeah, definitely. What you said about stress and gut, you're absolutely right. It's chicken and egg. One exacerbates, and it creates a stress. So it's good to do everything. Come at it from all angles.
Cool, thank you, Simon. It is cutting out a little bit, so we're just going to finish there today. I think everyone heard what they really need to hear. So if people want to find you, so people want to, you know, work with you, where do they find you?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, certainly. People can contact me at Simon at vibrantnow.co.uk.
So that's Simon at vibranthouse.co.uk.
Vibrant.co.uk.
Vibranthousenow.co.uk. Thank you. Sorry, you cut out in that when you said now. So Simon at vibranthousenow.co.uk.
That's it.
Simon, thank you so much for coming in today. It looks like technology is playing nicely with us. And I'm really looking forward. We'll speak soon and we'll work out a way where technology does play nice with us. But thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. My pleasure.